Hello, good day, and welcome to Vintique Sound. My name is Kevin, and this video is going to be somewhat of a, hmm, I don't know how to call it. Maybe a crossroads. I don't even know. But I'm throwing this video out there because this is some stuff that has been going on. And some of you might have noticed that, hey, I'm opening up not Cubase this time around, but Bitwig Studio. And I wanted to kind of give a spiel story of what's going on. One thing is that probably about a year or two ago, it must have been like 2 years ago, um, I was heavily experimenting with Linux, and I was trying to get all my computing done on a Linux machine, on my laptop, and on my desktop. And at some point, I was like, oh crap, that means that I have to do all this music stuff on a Linux. What is available on Linux? And I did a whole bunch of searching. Um, Found out that like there's almost nothing that works on Linux for programs, for good programs. And then I randomly stumbled on the fact that Cubase runs on, I mean, not Cubase, Bitwig runs on Linux. And I was pumped because I was like, oh, damn, like this is an actual full DAW and it runs on Linux. And I was like, oh, shit, okay. So I'm going to look into it and decide, like, okay, is this going to be the switch? Because that was one of the final puzzles is like, crap, all my music stuff is, uh, it's all run on Windows. Um, then what I did was I was like, okay, I'm going to just look for Bitwig. If it's cheap or whatever, I'll buy it, I'll try it, I'll see what happens, and it'll just be like a side DAW fun experiment. And I found it online for like $100, full version, not registered, but previously owned or something. Got it off eBay, and so $100, I got this whole new DAW full, uh, the full version of it. And then I started experimenting with it, and I knew it was quite like Ableton. I watched a whole bunch of videos. I experimented with Ableton in the past, so this format was very familiar with me. And then I got it, and then I started running it on the Linux. Um, and then that's when I realized that none of my hardware seemed to work, at least not out of the box. There was potentially some tweaks and some maybe programs that I download to bridge, uh, just like convoluted amounts of work to be done just to get things that I already bought to work. And that was really frustrating. And then at some point, I just called it, you know what, this is dumb. Um, oh, yeah. And the other thing is that I was trying to edit videos on this like Caden Live, and it always just crashed all the time. It was so unstable, really frustrating. And I was like, okay, I tried, I tried to go Linux, and it's hit me with massive punches in the face. And then I decided that was a fun little experiment. I'm putting that away, and I reinstalled Windows 10 and reinstalled everything on the machine here. And then eventually on my laptop, I caved in, and because I think it just stopped working or something. That happens a lot with Linux, is random shit will update or something goes wrong, and then something randomly just stops working. Like like my PC here, the other one. This is like a spare old one that I can only run Linux because Windows fucks up with the audio. But um, there was like one small thing that one of my friends tried to do on the computer, and now the internet just doesn't work. Like what the fuck? Uh, Anyways, so that's that spiel. This video is meant to be an update slash crossroads thing. Is I have since been following Bitwig, and Bitwig 2 has been developing actually really quite nicely. And they have added some major things like crossfades with audio. There are VST3 plugins. So this version, this is the first version 1 point, let's pull this up, about 1.3.16. So this is the first version of Bitwig Studio. And it wasn't running VST3s. That's an issue for me because I have a lot of VST instruments that I like to have only VST3 installed because they're just CPU friendly. They have just a few different advantages, and I'm used to it with Cubase. Steinberg has went like full bore with VST3s, and that's the way I like to use my VSTs, if possible. The crossfades weren't accessible before. Those are some pretty major issues I found. But yeah, and then the reason why I experimented with Ableton and with Bitwig as well for creative purposes is that you have the non-linear way of formulating and creating songs with these scenes and these blocks, and then you can later on you can drop them in, or you can perform them and record them into an actual linear timeline, and then that's what you use for your song to export and create anew. And then when it's on this timeline, you can still do exactly what you can do in all the other DAWs, is work on your songs in a linear fashion. And so now we're here, and I can get a decent upgrade deal to buy Bitwig Studio 2. And for the last few weeks, I've been experimenting with some of their instruments. So let's I've also this here is a test with running some MIDI out through to my hardware synths and re-recording them into audio on a separate track. So I've figured all that stuff out. That works nicely. I can't use my Cubase specific controllers in the way that I would like to. I can always map them. That's going to take a ton of time, and I just don't think I want to do that. I might end up just getting like another controller that already works with Bitwig really well, like what is that? Like Ableton Push, I think, is like a similar thing, or a really dope thing, or a Machine Jam. Those big setups like that. That's easy to work with. It has a sequencer that you can, physically work with, and it integrates really well with Bitwig. I might end up going that route and maybe selling all of these. Who knows? Or I'll just keep it and maintain this channel as a Cubase first channel, and I might like do all my mixing and mastering in Cubase. So that's kind of the point of this video. Is I'm going to throw it out to you guys. Is what do you think this channel is to you? Is it basically strictly just a Cubase tutorial type of a channel, or is it more broad? Is it, because I do post other videos. I post some mixing tutorials, mastering tutorials, production tutorials, things about hardware, setting up interfaces, etc., etc. And my normal vision in this case with Vintique Sound is offering audio engineering services, potentially and hopefully expanding through to samples and loops and those type of things. Maybe trying to get some what do you call it, Hallian VST instruments. That's the stuff that I was hoping to get, like the main part of my business. But alongside that is the YouTube stuff, which I wanted to expand with just anything that I learned with any piece of software that was music or hardware, and something that I had at least a decent expertise in to share with. Then I would post it as a video. And I'm going to ask you guys, would you also like to see some Bitwig tutorials? Because eventually I might start posting Bitwig tutorials. Right now, I'm more in the absorbing and trying to learn the program mode, and I still have tons of ideas for Cubase tutorials, and that's a huge investment, and I know that program so well, and I have like these controllers, and everything just works perfectly fine. So that's not gonna go away, and theoretically, if it goes away, like I'm not using it as my primary DW, then I'm pretty sure I'll still just make a whole bunch of tutorial videos because the knowledge is there. And once I have time to make videos, I can fairly easily put them together and post them, and still offer value to my subscribers. Yeah, so I guess what I would like out of you guys is just comment down below, explain to me whatever it is you want about what I've said in this entire video. Uh, do you think I should keep Cubase first as far as every video that I post? It should be just like Cubase tutorials, or should I just expand everything and then I'll have a nice healthy amount of Cubase stuff, and you're coming to me for more than just Cubase, etc., etc. I don't know. Yeah, that basically just comment whatever the heck, ask questions. I will try to figure out exactly what I'm doing in the next maybe coming months or so. I know I'm going to upgrade to Bitwig version 2 because it's a decent price and because it has those significant updates. Oh yeah, I wanted to demonstrate stuff like with let's go with Bitwig stuff, and we'll go with FM4. And where's the instrument? See, I'm still in the learning phase here. I really love their instruments, and I've been experimenting and watching lots of videos. So like the FM4, just built in really nicely. The whole modular design of Bitwig itself, especially in version 2, because you have the little modular button. You click it, and then you have access to 3 default slots where you add in like an LFO or a step sequence, like just a whole list of things where you can modulate any parameter within Bitwig here. It makes automation and making really interesting progressions in the sounds with whatever you're using. It makes it so easy and fun and creative and inventive and intuitive, because you just open up a thing, drag in a modulation, put it on some knobs or some parameters, experiment, play it in a loop setting like here, just kind of jam it out, play it out in this non-linear way, and then when you're comfortable and you feel like you're jamming out to something really cool, you can record it into the timeline, and that's just kind of the way that I'm moving towards. I don't want to say evolve because it seems like a little bit I don't know how you'd say it, but like egotistical, like, oh, I'm evolving into something better. It's just a way that I want to progress and work with my music, because I've been struggling in Cubase to work in that linear fashion, to just chip away at a song, and it's, I don't know, something I've been thinking about in the last like year or so is, am I going to actually bite the bullet, go full Ableton? If that's the case, why not Bitwig? Because they're very similar in the sense of nonlinear, and Bitwig has some interesting things going on. I don't have to go with whatever's like more mainstream. It'd be better if I'm making. It'd be better for the channel if I'm making something that's less small and niche. But I'm totally comfortable with just running with whatever's niche and whatever I like, and then just posting videos in that regard. So this has been a little bit longer than I was expecting, but let me know what you think. Maybe even just let me know like what DAW you're using primarily, and just in general what you've tried and what you're thinking about using. Because then at least I know maybe there's people who are using Studio One and they're watching these videos and they're just like, they're still a subscriber, they're still watching like Cubase tutorials, they're still watching other videos they post. That's good to know for me. Then I know kind of what direction I'll focus on. So yeah, this has been a total spiel, a total story time, but get back to me in the comments and we'll go from there. Signing off here at Vintique Sound, and we'll catch you in the next video. Bye bye.